This city just showed you that it's full of people ready to believe in good. Here's your look at the new Beast Kingdom DAH-023 Batman, the dynamic action hero. Joining the DAH Dynamic Action Hero series from Beast Kingdom is Dark Knight Batman from Christopher Nolan's seminal trilogy. The figure uses high composite materials to recreate every fine detail down to the texture on the suit and weaponry. With 26 points of articulation, the Dark Knight DAH is one of the most posable figures yet, and features 3 replacement mouths, a branded stand with a bracket, as well as 5 pairs of replacement hands for fans to recreate the most exciting scenes from the films. Before we get a closer look at DAH-023 Batman, I'd like to first thank the folks over at Beast Kingdom that provided the sample of the dynamic action hero's Dark Knight Batman that we could actually have a look at in this review. The figure is available right now. In fact, many online sites already show this guy in stock, with the price point just being slightly over $100. And considering the fact that you get as many things as you do accessory-wise, not to mention the figure itself, I think $100 is a steal. Looking, though, at the accessories, we'll start first sort of with his display stand. I guess just before that, let's focus our attention on the instruction sheet. Now, the instruction sheet, if hard to read, understand on the front side, just know that you can flip it around to the back, and it does present it in English. It shows you how you can rotate and move the figure when it comes to his posability. It shows you how to install the hands with the different accessories. It shows you how to change the utility belt, change out his face plates, and how to operate and attach the sticky bomb, because it's going to consist of 2 halves. I would suggest when it comes to looking at these figures, especially the higher end figures, always look at your instruction sheet first, just in case. You have to know like the tolerances, how much you're able to move the figure, and more importantly, where all the accessories are going to go. Now we can move on to the attention of looking at the display stand. If you have seen videos previously here on this channel looking at Beast Kingdom releases, then you may recognize at least this shape of stand. Maybe not necessarily the color. A very shiny looking black plastic gets presented here for the Dark Knight display stand. Funny enough, it's actually not the Dark Knight specifically, rather it's the Dark Knight trilogy. Even though the look of Batman is more so based on the Dark Knight and the Dark Knight Returns design, the display stand at least is presented to show it as the Dark Knight trilogy. You've got the Batman logo, or Batman's name, printed on the front as a placard, and then you've got the adjustable neck. Now, it consists of 2 parts. When you get this out of the packaging, this is going to be separate from this, and this is going to be separate from this. To assemble it, all you're simply going to do is take the post and fit it into the hole on the top there, then take this top part, and the peg is going to fit into the hole just like that. Super easy. These do open and close, so you can fit them around Batman's waist. And there's also adjustability as well. If you want to have him more in a flight pose, there's that available option as well. On to the rest of Batman's accessories now. One thing he comes included with isn't actually for him. No, I'm not pretending to be the Riddler right now. The figure does also come included with a swappable head sculpt, but not for Batman. It's actually for the DAH version of Joker. Now, Beast Kingdom were kind enough to send over the Clown Prince of Crime, so while we aren't looking at him in this review just yet, just look at this sort of as a tease, a taste of things to come, because we're going to be using this head sculpt in that review of Joker. You can see the amount of work that they put into sculpting the face. This seems to be Joker's head sculpt from the interrogation scene, the way that he's laughing like this. I like the way they've smeared the makeup so it looks like it's coming off of his skin. Again, while it's not necessarily something that's planned for the Dark Knight to be wearing himself, I guess you could, if you wanted to, take the head sculpt off and replace it with this one. No, rather instead, this is going to be something that we're going to bring back when we have a look at the DAH release of the Joker, also from Beast Kingdom. Things more suitable for Batman, he comes included with his grappling gun. The grappling gun appears to be molded in black plastic, and then the parts of the gun that were supposed to be gold, they've gone in there and just painted it gold. There is a little bit of gold that's bled its way onto the undercarriage of the gun, but other than that, I mean, like, the paint's pretty clean on it. Now, the gun does seem a bit small. I had to go back and watch the film again, and in order for it to fit on the back of his utility belt, which I'll show you in a second, the grapple launcher is actually of the right size, it seems. He does have suitable hands for holding the gun, although it doesn't seem like he comes included with one that has specifically a trigger finger. This seemed to be the one that was the closest one. Sort of just take the handle of the gun, find its way through the grip of the hand, and you can kind of get it looking like he's holding it around the trigger area. And then, of course, you can attach it to his forearm from there. I did mention, though, that the grapple gun also does attach to the back of utility belt, and for this I'm going to pick the figure up and just move his cape out of the way. And then on the back of the utility belt, you can already see a very obvious clip right there. You're going to take the grapple gun, and you're going to put it kind of where the trigger is, as that's the most narrowest part of the gun. You can see it attaches to the gun, and again, when you really have it in the perspective of putting it on the back of the utility belt like this, it does seem like it's supposed to be the right size. I'm sure most likely to lose, Batman comes included with 3 batarangs, and they seem to be all identical to one another. Contoured on the one side, flat on the other side. Now these, of course, you can fit into his hand. Let's get one of the suitable hands for that. He comes with a lot of hands, too, as well. We're going to cover more of that in a second. Comes with, again, just the right grip for holding the batarang. Again, you probably could have 2 hands, I suppose, holding the batarangs. I guess you could probably, as well, take a couple of batarangs and wedge them in between the fingers and the palm. Again, I'm very worried that I'm probably going to lose these. That's just the result of having small accessories. It's nothing really against Beast Kingdom. It's just the fact that when you look at the ratio, the sizing of how small these are, definitely going to be something you're going to lose. Just be careful of those. He does also come, speaking of something small, he comes with a little tiny sticky bomb. I'm going to see if, there we go, zoom in so you can actually see what it looks like. It's not so much actually a sticky bomb, it's a smoke bomb, but as you can see, it's been painted with all of the individual little nibs here with silver on the ends of them. Again, super, super tiny. The figure also comes included, well, actually, you know what? We can cover off the hands. Right now, in the forearms, Batman has closed fists. We've already looked at a couple of them already. There's ones for holding the grappling gun. And I guess technically as well, this sticky bomb gun, which is something else that we'll look at in a second. The figure comes with a couple of relaxed hands. Getting a closer look at those. Nice sculpting, I really have to say, on just the hands alone. A couple of relaxed hands. Going to cover off slightly smaller grips for the batarangs, or also the handles of the sticky bomb gun. Figure comes with a couple of dynamic hands, flat hands, or jazz hands. Some people like to call them jazz hands as well. Comes with a couple of those. Again, different grips, different hands. A slightly more wider grip. And a slightly more narrow grip. And it comes with a wider grip as well. I was trying to pinpoint what exactly these wider grip hands would be used for. And I really can't think of anything. I mean, outside of just the idea of having them with slightly relaxed hands, I don't think they would serve a purpose. They would be too big, of course, to hold the handle of the grappling gun. They're way too big to be holding the sticky bomb gun. And I can't think of really any other thing that they would be really designated for. But he at least comes with a whole bunch of extra hands, as you can see. One of the gadgets that Batman uses in the film is the sticky bomb gun. I'm glad to see that Beast Kingdom included it with their release of him. It consists of 2 halves. It's not actually broken. It's supposed to look like this because it's supposed to be housed on the back of his utility belt when he's not using it. And like in the film, he takes the 2 halves, he assembles the sticky bomb gun before he uses it. To attach these, this one has the longer post down below. You can see that this one's a little bit longer than this one. The longer post is going to fit into that square opening. So you're going to attach the 2 together like this, take the back handle, spin this around, and extend it from the back. Take the front, fold down the handle, fold down this handle, and extend it here. And then from the top, you can bring this forward and slide this back. And that's what the sticky bomb gun looks like. And it does easily fit into his hands. I actually had that the way it was like that at the beginning of this review. And to fold things back up once again, just fold that in, compact that, slide this back, fold it in, spin this around, and then you just detach the 2 halves. Now, I did say that this is supposed to go on the back of his utility belt, and it does, but it's not the utility belt that's currently on the figure. Beast Kingdom also includes an alternate utility belt, and it isn't the same either. When you're looking at the figure and you're looking at this utility belt, you notice that the one that's on the figure has some additional cartridges and pockets that are nowhere to be found on the new utility belt. So this one's a little more smoother and simpler. What it does have, however, though, on the back of it, these reflective surfaces that almost look like mirrors are actually magnets. what you can do is you can take the sticky bomb gun in 2 halves, and those just attach to the back, kind of spun around like this. There we go. That's the one side. And do the exact same thing on the other side. Once you start really moving it towards the utility belt, the strength of the magnet pulls it in, and they're not going to be going anywhere. And then this can actually replace to the one that's already on the figure. We're just going to spin this around, and on the back, right underneath the part that holds the grappling gun, you just detach it right there. Super easy, super easy. And then that just removes off the figure like that. And then you can take the new utility belt, and then this fits around his waist, spin around to the back, and then we can just do the exact same thing in reverse. We're going to take the peg, line it up to the hole, and plug it into place. Not only can this be used for the sticky bomb gun, let's just move this up his waist here, but also gives you a little more of a cleaner, less bulky looking utility belt if you want to display, of course, Batman with that instead. Additional features for Beast Kingdom Batman is that he has interchangeable mouth plates. Starting things off right now with the stock one. This is the one that came out of the box like this, and it's sort of just a neutral expression for Batman. Does the job, I think, rather well. But if you prefer a more aggressive looking Bale, then yes, there's a couple of options available. He comes with one that almost looks like he's starting to say something. You can see some little more visible teeth showing there. He comes with just a slight variation of that. And maybe what I'll do is I'll do a comparison of all 3 in a second. And one of my personal favorites, he also comes with this one as well. A lot angrier looking Batman. Let's just put the figure down here for a second before we start popping things out. I want to actually show you guys. Again, they're fairly small too. See my best to hold all 3. I hope I can actually succeed doing this. Grabbing all 3 here. Yeah, especially these ones. The one in the middle and the one to the far left. Very similar, although the only difference is the one to the far left shows a little more visible teeth. It's just, again, a matter of preference more than anything else. Let's go with this head sculpt or this mouth plate for right now. I'm going to use it just as an example. To change out the mouth, actually it's pretty easy. Just take the head and remove it from the neck. That's the first part done. And then on the inside of the head, you can see where that's attached. Now, they're a little harder to gain access to. I found it was helpful if you took sort of like a blunt object, something that's not going to do any damage to it. You could take the back of a screwdriver or even like the front of a screwdriver, but just very carefully. Very little pressure, like I said, it needs to be applied, but it's in such a small space, it's really hard to gain access to it. Pop the one mouth out, and then let's replace it with the other mouth. And all you're really doing is you're lining that peg, well, okay, I know you guys know, lining up to the hole, and you fit it back into place like that. It gives just a little bit more personality, I find, to Batman's face than just giving him a neutral, closed mouth. And if you're happy with the choice that you've made, then go ahead, take the head and put it back onto the neck. There we go. And snap it back into place while not dropping the mouth in the process. Luckily, I was able to see where that mouth plate landed, so I was able to retrieve it. But I do think like just the different expression gives a little more personality to his face. And again, it's remarkable the fact that a $100 figure like this does come with as many swappable options available. One other swappable thing it comes included with as well is the glider backpack. Now, the glider backpack he uses in the film to retrieve Lau. And what it is it's going to remove and replace the cape. This is going to fit on the back of his torso. Before we actually do that, I wanted to show and discuss a little bit about the cape. Specifically, I really like the material that they've used for it. It's a fairly thick, fibrous almost material that they've used, with the inside being notably a little smoother than it is on the outside. You can even see up close like this, the texturing that they've used, this material specifically, the type of texturing that it has. It's actually a really good cape. I'm really, really happy with the type of material, like I said, that they used for the cape. Now, this is, of course, most people probably would decide to display their Batman, I would imagine, with the cape intact. But again, just to show you in this review, if you wanted to replace it with the glider backpack, what you have to do, you don't have to remove the head to do this either. You literally have to go in and yank the ends of the cape out from these holes on either side, on his shoulders here. Now, it's fine to remove them. I had a little more of a tougher time actually getting them back in place because it doesn't seem like the end of the cape, these little nibs right here, have any metal or anything hard on the inside to help sort of navigate it back into that hole. You can kind of take a screwdriver and help sort of to assist it to get back in there. But I don't think I've got it from the first time that I've replaced or changed the cape off. I don't think I've fully got it back in there. I'm going to try a few more times after this. I wish there was a simpler way to remove the cape without literally having to yank the cape out of those holes. It's the only thing I sort of have a problem with when it comes to this figure, just because I don't feel like I can ever really get the cape back the way it was, at least that first time when I first took it out of its plastic. But anyways, to remove the cape, I've already sort of started the job. Just yank it from the one hole and do the exact same thing on the other side. And then that's the cape removed. You're going to then take the backpack, and now where those holes are open, you're going to take the pegs that are on the top of it, and those just fit into those holes. Pretty easy, pretty straightforward. And then you've got the glider backpack now on Batman's back. It makes for a good look, I have to admit, although more traditionally would like Batman to be wearing the cape. And again, just to change the cape, change it back to the cape, you're just going to remove it from the holes, and then do your very best to take like these knotted ends, sort of like tied up ends here, tying up loose ends. There you go. And you're actually just going to fit them back in the hole. But again, like if there was only like a harder metal or something on the end of it, I think it would be making things a little bit more easier to be able to attach those back into the holes. Or one other thing they could have also done as well, it just had removable clips. So the cape, the top where the cape fed through, if these were already something that could remove via like clips, you could literally just take the whole clip part of his shoulder off, and then the cape would already be attached to it. Just an idea instead of actually having to try to pull these out and then put them back in every single time. Now that we've finished having a look at the accessories and the different ways to display the Dark Knight, we can finally look at the figure itself. And I'm pretty happy with what Beast Kingdom has done. I'm amazed the fact that we're getting as much as we do with this figure for, again, around that $100 price point. Now, when it comes to his suit, what it basically is he has a bodysuit of fabric underneath. And then what they've done is they've put the armor over top of it. Very similar, actually, to the way he had it even in the movie. So it's kind of consisting of different panels. The main chunk of it, I would say, is the abdomen area there, which seems to be separate then from the top of his armor, or I guess the top of his chest area, which is a separate piece. Now that certainly will come in handy when it comes to the figure's articulation, because it certainly helps to be able to move the figure freely, and you don't feel like this is sort of kept imprisoned underneath a plastic bodysuit. If I could offer up any little bit of criticism, I would say like the legs seem slightly skinny. More so in the top thigh area. Not really so much from the calf. The calf isn't so much the issue, but I kind of feel like the thigh could be just a little bit bigger than what it is. But like in the movie, as you can see, it's made up of all these extra panel pieces, which are actually overlays. Looks like they've adhered it to the actual fabric suits. It looks actually pretty good. Spin this around so you can see it from the back. It's a very finished looking suit. Like I said, I think they've done a really good job of it. Again, when it comes to, I think, displaying him, more likely than not to probably displaying with the cape. Again, you have the option really available of displaying him instead with that glider backpack. And I do, again, appreciate the fact that they would have included both with the figure. Talking a little bit about the figure's articulation now. The head rotates all the way around. And not only does it rotate all the way around, but the figure also has a secondary ball joint at the base of the neck. So the neck can actually move independently and give you a little bit more mileage when it comes to moving Batman's head around. The upper torso being those two separate parts, it sort of does help to be able to move the figure a little more free, as I mentioned already. The arms do hinge out. They can get almost to about, on this one side I've noticed, and it could simply just be that the shoulder's a little looser on this one side, I can get the arm to about a 90 degree. I really don't want to force it too much on the other side. Yeah, you can get about 90-degree bend on the figure's arms. You can also as well bring the arms forward and back. He has a bicep swivel. The figure has what seems to be a double hinge on the elbow. And you can also rotate the hands as well. Then let's look at the legs. The legs split out. You can bring the legs forward and back. There seems as well to be a swivel either in the thigh area, because it'd be hard to see it underneath the fabric suit, or it's simply just the way it's attached to the ball joint at the top of the thigh. The figure has a double hinge on the knee. I keep wanting to move the knee pad around. I don't feel it's completely centered. But again, being that it's fabric, I'm sure I probably could just twist it to get to the desired look that I want. The boots, more so just the way that they're assembled onto the bodysuit, they rotate. The feet move up and down. There's also quite a substantial ankle tilt. And the figure does also have toe articulation too. I was really actually impressed to see that they incorporated toe articulation in this figure as well. It's a nice looking Batman. I prefer myself the Batman Begins suit just because it looks more like a Batman suit, whereas this sort of always reminded me more like a SWAT suit, consisting of several parts all sort of put together. But I got to admit, like, Beast Kingdom really did a great job for this figure. The figure stock looks great. The figure then has all these extras, accessories. I'm looking around right now at my table, and I can see just all the accessories I covered off in this review. I'm surprised, really, with how much you actually get. And just to, again, remind everybody how much we're getting in a figure that sits around $100. I think, really, if you're a big fan of the Dark Knight films, the trilogy that Christopher Nolan created, this is a Batman you really will want to add to your collection. Oh, and if you were seriously considering getting the Beast Kingdom Batman for yourself and needed that final nudge in that direction, just know as well, Batman has also a wireframe cape. Not mentioned in the review, but mentioned now, and you can certainly see as well, if you wanted to put him in a, quote, dynamic pose, you can easily do it by having that wireframe. It's just on the edge of the cape, though, on both sides, but it's more than enough if you want to have that wide fan look on Batman. It looks great, and certainly is just the icing on already what was a great cake to start off with. This is really good, I think, for those collectors out there that want to get into the higher-end collectibles but maybe don't have the space. If 12-inch tall 6-scale figures isn't to your liking, you want something a little bit smaller, I think Beast Kingdom is really delivering as much as what you would have gotten with a 6-scale figure. First of all, a lot smaller. Second of all, a lot cheaper. Just to put things in perspective, if you check online right now, the Beast Kingdom Joker that we will be looking at in an upcoming review sits around $99.99, so it's about $100. This Batman that we had to look at in this review, in most cases, sits around $109.99. So it's a $110 figure for what you're getting with the figure, the amount of accessories that you're getting, and even the fact that they also throw in a Joker head sculpt that you can then use with that other Joker. Like I said, if you guys are a big fan of the Dark Knight trilogy, Christopher Nolan's take on the Caped Crusader, this is definitely a Batman you're going to want to add to your collection. Again, a big thank you, though, to the folks over at Beast Kingdom that provided this sample of DAH-023 Batman, the dynamic action hero that we could have a look at in this review. And like I said, they did also kindly send over the Joker. So if this wasn't enough to wet your whistle, just know that we will also be looking at the dynamic action hero Joker in an upcoming review. The key to making sure that you're not missing out on anything, though, that's shown on this channel is a couple of things you can do. You can hit that subscribe button for starters. You can then turn on the bell notification so you get those friendly reminders of when new videos are popping up. And of course, the last one, the more crucial thing, keep your peepers, please, peeled. Because of course, if you keep an eye on this channel, you'll always be aware of when new videos are popping up. And we will be looking at, yes, the dynamic action hero Joker in an upcoming review. So stay tuned for that. As always, guys, thanks for watching as you always do. I'll see you guys next time.